Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just thought I'd do a quick review of the Welsh Test Series and 5 things that the Springboks did get out of that Test Series, which I think we were all concentrating about the results and winning the Test Series 2-1, which the Boks did. There was a bit of an angst after they lost that second Test. Obviously making the 14 changes, lots of debate around whether that was the right thing to do, but it was done with a plan. And I think there's a lot of confidence in what the Boks are doing at the moment. They know where they are. They know they're working to a plan. Will they get where they need to be by the time the World Cup? They've got an incredibly tough World Cup draw. The World Cup's set up for other sides, not for the top 4 sides in the world. They're going to play each other at some point by the quarterfinals. So what did they get out of the Welsh game? I think we should look at that. That's the first thing. The first thing I'd say they got out of the game, numero uno, is Damian Willemse. I think he's been hovering around there. He's been looking for a role at franchise level, looking for a role, not sure quite of his place. But I think he came into his own in the Welsh series. Willemse has been sort of hovering around the Stormers. There's been this debate: is he at a 10, a 12, or a 15? But he's played a lot at 12 this year, and the Boks team fulfilling that role of Frans Steyn at 12, covering 10, 12, 15 for them. I think the one thing though that he has brought through is that by circumstance, when Elton Yankees left the field after a horrible first half against Wales in the first Test, he was forced to play 10, and he came through, got the winning kick right at the end, grew in confidence. And his interaction with Willie le Roux, of all people, has become quite mesmerizing to watch if you're at the field. If you watch the two of them, the way they come behind the pods and they sort of set up the plays, direct the forwards, something really special to watch. It's really been a situation where you've seen Willemse grow into the role in these last 3 tests, and really is looking like somebody for the future. They're not quite there yet, but that's sort of a little bit of magic between him and Willie le Roux certainly could turn into something good before the World Cup next year. So that's the first thing I think they got out of it. The second one was a message or two. You saw it happen. Faf de Klerk dropped. Jaden Hendrikse coming in. A bit of consternation amongst people about that. Jaden Hendrikse doing well in the second Test. His box kicking a lot better than Faf's in the 2 tests. The two of them, sort of the 3 Test series, should I say. So Jaden Hendrikse took his chance, and in that third Test, his box kicking was pinpoint. So he's become now a viable option for the Boks. The one thing people haven't realized is that Herschel Yankees has moved out of the 23 probably for the first time since 2018, I think it is. So that's significant. So Jaden has sort of leapfrogged him, and maybe leapfrogged Faf as well. I think we'll probably see Faf back there, and probably that was a little bit of a message that the management sent him ahead of the Test series against New Zealand. So at scrum-half, there's another option now with Jaden Hendrikse there, and I think that gives the Boks something different as well. How they deal with Faf shooting out and covering that extra man in defence was interesting to see in the third Test, but it worked pretty well. But I think the Boks had the upper hand for most of the game. Might be different against New Zealand. Hendrikse has definitely made himself known out there, and he's really made an impression. So I think that's the second thing the Boks have got out of this Test series against Wales. The third thing I think they got out of it as well was in that second Test. They much debated 14 changes to the starting lineup, 19 changes to 23. The Test that the Springboks lost by 1 point. You got to give Wales credit for winning that Test. The Boks were in control. They did everything but win the game, and I think maybe some of the reaction was overboard. Although, saying that anytime the Springboks lose a Test at home, there's always going to be quite a big reaction to the loss. But in making those 14 changes, I think the one thing they did was they were brave. If you look at 2020, they never had any Test rugby. 2021, they had the Lions series, so there was no time to bring players through and experiment. So 2022 is really the year. They've got a year to the World Cup. They've got to bring a bigger part of their squad in. What they have done is they've given everybody a run now. And there's a bigger plan to this as well. We've seen the reports that they have to play New Zealand A with a large chunk of their side, their foreign players not available. So they need to develop a second side. Playing at Twickenham, they need a young side. They're going to play a young side of stars from the URC, probably very close to that team in that second Test. And, it's going to be very interesting to see how they do it and how they handle that pressure. So I think what the Boks are doing, they've got those 3 SAA games at the end of the year. You probably see a lot of these players play at some point against Argentina as well. But they're definitely developing a squad system, a bigger squad system. So I don't think there should be too much concern about the road going ahead. I think the Boks took a gamble there. It backfired a little bit on them with the result. But I think they learned a lot more than they expected to, under pressure from a bunch of players who they gave an opportunity to play. The fourth thing that the Boks learned in the Test series against Wales was I thought they tried to play with a lot more width in that third Test. In the second Test as well, they used a lot more of their backline. They tried to move it a little bit more. Their attack still needs a lot of work. They've realised they can't just focus on the scrum and the set pieces all along. That's not going to help them going into a World Cup. You're not going to win a World Cup because teams are going to try and counter you on that. And the day that the referee doesn't give you that sort of leeway that you want, that sort of advantage that you strive for, you've got a bit of a problem. So they've tried to use their backline a lot more, and I think there's a bit more pressure coming through in the squad now. They're trying to alter their attack. They're trying to use Damian Willemse more as a playmaker like he did for the Stormers. And I think we're seeing a lot more variety. I know people might say, no, we're not. But I think if you watch those games again, especially the second and third Test, you'll see there is a little bit more nuanced tweaks coming through for the Boks at that stage. And the fifth and final thing that they got from that Test series, I'm going to keep it to 5, I could go on all day, is game time for key players. So if you think about it, Pieter-Steph du Toit hadn't played much. I know Elton Yankees is a bone of contention. He hasn't played much, and they took a chance there. Handré Pollard hadn't played much, but the thing is, they've got limited chance to play these guys. There's no franchise rugby going on at the moment. There's nothing happening worldwide where these guys can get game time, so they have to play them there. They've got game time for a lot of these guys in these 3 tests. I think they'll feel a lot more comfortable after the Welsh Test series and going into this All Blacks Test series with 5-6 weeks together. And what normally happens is the squad starts to take shape the more time they have together. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that coming through, a lot more continuity, probably sharper sort of performances by key players who played in Japan in particular, some of the players in France who didn't really get that much game time. And I think you're going to start seeing a bit more cohesion coming into that team. Of course, they're a lot more settled now. They know they're going into the All Black Test. They know this is the big week for them, the big 2 weeks, should I say, this year. And then they've got to go try and win games in Australia, which they haven't done since 2013 either. So there's a lot riding on this rugby championship this year, and I think that game time is going to come through now. We might not have thought it then. There might be a bit of debate whether they should play players. But if they didn't play those players, where would they have got game time? I think that's the big point that the Boks management have been trying to make. I know test level's not really the place you're supposed to play into form, but if you look at it from their point of view, where else do they do that? So those are my five things that the Boks learned out the Welsh series. I'd love to hear what you think. Leave a comment below if you think I've missed something or if you don't agree. Tell me why. If you think if there's something else I should have mentioned, please let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. Please subscribe, and that helps keep this channel going, and keep watching because there'll be a lot more rugby videos as we go along. Thanks for watching. Cheers.